My name is Carly Renaud, and I'm a Master's of Education student from Nipissing University. I'm from Matachewan First Nation originally, but I grew up in North Bay, where Nipissing is. And just as Chief Robert Joseph was saying this morning, that reconciliation starts with each of us and that we each have a role to play in it, I would like to just talk about my educational journey, what's brought me here today, and what I hope, I guess, for the future. So I'm going to read. During my master's, I intend to study how Indigenous knowledge systems are acknowledged during curriculum development and how the education system is responding to the calls to action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Specifically, I'm interested in call number 10, subpoint 3, which calls on the federal government to, quote, develop culturally appropriate curricula, end quote. I hope to study how teachers and administrators tackle this call to action, and I want to research how it can be done with truth and respect. So the path that has led me to choose this area of research really starts with a story my mother told me about her experience at university 25 years ago. She's also a graduate of Nipissing University, and she's been an inspiration to me my whole life. I really looked up to her. She went to school when I was young, and I can remember her going to university, and I remember how much work that took for her. But one story in particular that she told me really resonates with my own education journey, and I think resonates with what's happening in Truth and Reconciliation right now. So when she graduated, she told me how one of her professors asked her what she was going to do after her undergrad, and she responded that she was going to get her master's degree in Native Studies, even though it wasn't called Native Studies then, it was called Canadian Heritage Studies, I think. But she was going to get her master's degree in Native Studies, and that she was going to go back to Nipissing and teach a Native Studies course. That's what she wanted to do. And that professor, this was 25 years ago in 1994, that professor answered her that he didn't think that there would ever be a Native Studies course at Nipissing University. Sorry. It's a statement like that that makes me proud to be where I am today at Nipissing University, because not only does Nipissing University have a comprehensive Native Studies program, it has truly a wealth of Indigenous programming to support its students. Last year I completed my undergrad there. I'm a master's student now, and I graduated with my honors specialization bachelor's degree in English Studies and a major in classical studies, of which I got the J.W. Tressler Proficiency Award. And that success could not have happened without the inspiration of my mother, but also the support of Nipissing University. During my 4 years of that undergrad, I worked for and I volunteered with the Office of Indigenous Initiatives, the Indigenous education programs that are there, and this summer, and last year actually, the Summer Indigenous Institute. So those programs, they offered me a chance to really learn how our university is approaching reconciliation, Indigenous education, Indigenous ways of knowing. And as I became more and more aware of that work that's happening, I realized that I wanted to participate in that as well. So much has evolved in the last 25 years to further Indigenous education, and I want to continue that forward momentum, that the changes that has happened since my own mother was in school. And in the next 25 years, how much more could we do, right? We have a wealth of Native Studies programs offered across Canadian universities, but my goal of reconciliation is to see the appropriate and thorough inclusion of Indigenous ways of knowing in all program streams. I know that pursuing my master's degree is going to help me do this, and the work experience that I gained at Nipissing is going to help me as well. While I was working with the Summer Indigenous Institute, it was in its pilot year. So it was the first year, and it was really, the program was developing, and I got a chance to see how that's done and how these programs are shaping and coming into being. It was developed to help Indigenous students transition into their first year of post-secondary education, and I was hired as an assistant during the school year and a mentor to the students during the summer programming. It was invaluable to me heading into my master's because, I dropped that one too soon. Because it gave me firsthand insight into the shared challenges that we face as Indigenous students. The cohort was made up of a wide range of students who varied in age, gender, and program of study, but we could all identify with problems such as loss of culture, loss of language, distance from our home communities, and intergenerational trauma. And these are just some of the significant factors that are affecting many Indigenous students today. My involvement with that program last summer really helped me to shape my area of research that I hope to pursue while I'm in my master's. So I've witnessed an increased interest in including Indigenous history into many different courses, and I'm sure the same thing is happening at many universities across Canada. Indigenous academia is no longer restricted to Native Studies courses. It's really being included across all program streams, but my hope is that it's done so with truth and with respect. Specifically when they're developing curriculum for the younger students, it's more than just our history or our historical facts. I'd really like to see our ways of knowing and our truth be included in a respectful way, so that they're, consulting with Indigenous elders during this program development, and that it's more than just history and facts, that there's a truth to it, such as what we've experienced yesterday. So the momentum behind meeting these calls to actions are present. I wish to explore how it's happening, like on a practical level, as these curriculums are developing. I'm only 1 month into my program, but I've already come so far in understanding how curriculum is developed and how we're approaching it. And so I'm really excited to begin research that's gonna help represent our Indigenous communities in the curriculum. So thank you for listening.